As Steve's blood warmed her body, Lydia recalled a memory from when she was a human named Miriam. Miriam was merely a high school student in Des Moines. Her new friend, Sheila, had invited her over as Miriam struggled in English, and Sheila offered to help. Miriam also hoped Sheila would teach her to twirl a baton, as Sheila was the baton twirler for the marching band, one of the best in the state. Miriam dreamed of becoming a baton twirler, but her father refused to pay for lessons, one of the countless requests he had denied. Lydia could almost smell the potpourri in Sheila's room as she closed her eyes, remembering the vivid colors, the clean yellow walls, her pink leather appointment calendar, and posters of seemingly endless fields of flowers. Lydia's world faded as she lost herself in that joyous memory. She knew what awaited Miriam, but Lydia wanted to linger in the past for a while. A hand patted Lydia's back. Startled, she sunk her fangs deeper into Steve's flesh. Steve tapped faster, his moaning a mixture of ecstasy and pain. Lydia retracted her fangs and licked the salty blood off his skin as Steve gently stroked her back. Lydia moved away. She felt relieved that the wound was healing, but also ashamed for accidentally hurting him. She focused on the present as she sat in a booth at Barber's Corner Bar and Grill in Bolingbrook, Illinois. The customers reflected Bolingbrook's diverse population. People from different ethnic groups freely mingled with each other. A sharp contrast to Chicago's ethnic neighborhoods. Executives wearing suits sat at the bar with warehouse workers wearing T-shirts and work shorts. Her companion, Steve, was the head of Bolingbrook's Department of Paranormal Affairs. The DPA was the village of Bolingbrook's covert department, tasked with concealing supernatural activities from Bolingbrook's residents and policing the local paranormal underworld. In theory, Lydia was one of the supernatural visitors the DPA was supposed to police. In practice, they just kept a cautious eye on her whenever she visited. Except for Steve. Over the years, their relationship evolved into a friendship. When she was with him, she felt alive. Lydia noticed some patrons avoiding her gaze. They might have assumed Lydia was kissing Steve's neck. A few onlookers might have felt disgusted by their apparent age difference. Lydia looked like a white woman in her early to mid-20s with short dark brown hair, whilst Steve was a balding white male with graying remnants of hair left, and a scar etched on the right side of his face. He once told Lydia he was 25 years old, but Lydia suspected he was in his late 60s. He would never tell her how he got the scar. Lydia wondered if he would ever trust her with that secret. For now, he leaned into the corner of the bench as he caught his breath. "Are you okay?" Lydia asked. "I'm sorry if—" Steve shook his head, then placed both hands on the table to steady himself. "Don't apologize. It's my fault. I shouldn't have startled you." "I'm just glad I didn't hurt you." Steve sat up, then smiled at Lydia. "Quite the opposite. It felt good." Steve chuckled. "I guess I got nervous, and that's why I tapped. I should have said something, but you know how hard it is to talk." Lydia relaxed. "I know." Steve reached for his glass of orange juice. "So, thank you, and I mean that. And please tell Marcus—" "Matthew," Lydia corrected. "He's going by Matthew again." "Matthew?" Steve carefully drank his juice. Vampires that create new vampires are called blood parents. Matthew was her blood father, and she was his oldest blood daughter. 20 years ago, he gave Miriam part of his vampiric essence. Over several days, Miriam faded away, until she died and was reborn as the vampire Lydia. Lydia nodded. He read a book last year and liked it so much, he adopted the author's first name. Steve turned towards Lydia. "What book?" he asked, sounding intrigued. "The Skeptical Economy? I think." Steve's jaw dropped, and his glass almost slipped out of his hand. "You mean The Skeptical Mind of the Economy? By Professor Matthew Bennett?" "Yeah, that's it." Steve laughed as he turned towards the table and set down his glass. "Oh my God!" He slapped the table a few times and stopped laughing. "I thought he'd be enthralled with Bennett.